Hello, and welcome everyone to Circuit Stream's Spring Open House webinar. Thank you all so much for joining us today on an exciting open house here. Just before I continue on, please let me know in the chat if you can hear me and see me. I'd hate to continue on without anyone hearing me or seeing me. I see Jerry there, Luciana, Dan, Evan, all good, Marina as well. Yep, Kyle, howdy, Andrew, Zara, Victor, Michael, Penelope. Awesome. Hey, thank you all for letting me know. Great to see you all in attendance here. We're going to wait a couple of minutes for more people to join us as I did just start this webinar. But I love to ask this question on all of our open houses and webinars. Let me know where you're currently tuning in from. We here at Circuit Stream are headquartered out of Calgary, Canada, though our team is very international in North America, South America, Asia, and Europe. But I do see we have people from the UK, Yolanda from the UK, Zara from LA, Michael from Seattle. So quite a few Americans here. Adrian, good seeing you from Nashville. Marisha from Baltimore. Victor from Edmonton, great seeing you here. Victor, Max from the UK, great seeing you as well. Charbel all the way from Lebanon. So lots of familiar faces here, some new people as well that have joined us for this open house and webinar, and quite an international crowd as well. And for those of you who are located abroad, this is all recorded as well. But if you do have any questions that you would like to have answered live, feel free to stick around. But if you do have to leave for any reason at all, no worries. We will send you this recording so you can follow along later. And I do see we have Ade here from Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. But again, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you all join us here today for our spring open house. We here will be covering a little bit about the XR industry, you know, what you can expect, what the trends are, as well as the importance of XR education. Following that, we'll talk about ourselves here at Circuit Stream for the new faces here in the audience. We'll cover our courses and programs, how they differ from each other, the new outlines that we've put together, and the approaches for all of the courses. And then we'll wrap it up with bringing Myra onto the stage to speak to her experience, our spring special and sale announcement towards the end, and we'll open it up for an in-depth Q&A session. But again, very excited to be hosting this, and thank you all for joining us. Now, some housekeeping items. As you've seen, there is a chat box right there to the right of the screen. I hope it's at least to the right of the screen for you all. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves, share your LinkedIn profiles, whatever it may be. You can use this chat as you wish. As an example, I'm going to toss in my LinkedIn profile here. Feel free to connect with myself. Would love to connect with you all. But beside the chat tab, we do also have a questions tab. So if you do have any questions for us to answer throughout this open house or for our in-depth Q&A at the very end, feel free to toss them into the questions tab. It helps us track what we haven't answered, what we need to get to, and what to cover at the very end in the live Q&A session. And right beside the questions tab, we do have a polls tab as well. So I'll be tossing in polls just to gauge the experience of the audience today. And to give you an example of what that would look like, I'm actually going to publish a poll right now. And this poll is going to ask, how much experience do you yourself have with virtual reality and augmented reality? 0 being no experience at all, 5 being that you're an expert in AR, VR, just looking to learn a little bit more and get some of our insights there. But feel free to check out the polls tab. That's where you can see the poll there. It's great to see you guys using the chat for that as well. Awesome. Well, let's kick things off and get this open house going. So I myself, my name is Stefan, and I'm the learning advisor here at Circuit Stream. I have over 7 years of experience in the tech industry, working with travel IT companies, learning management system providers, business integration and ERP platforms, and now in the beautiful world of XR, which is extended reality, an umbrella term that captures both or all three, AR, VR, and MR. Now, a little icebreaker and exciting fact about myself. I was a member of Water Polo Canada back in 2008 and trained with the Beijing Olympic team. Never got to go to the Olympics, but a wonderful experience nonetheless. And today I will be joined by our head of education, Jerry Medeiros, all the way down from South America. Jerry has over 10 years of industry experience in AR, VR, MR, and game design, essentially web science. He has a Master's of Science in the following things located there. He's also doing his MBA right now too. So it's truly a pleasure and an honor to have Jerry join us today to speak to some of the courses and to help answer the burning questions that you all may have around the programs, the industry, or CircuitStream themselves. And today we're honored to have the lovely Mayra Zamora join us as our CircuitStream alumni and special guest. Mayra is a LiDAR technician at McKim & Creed. She has about 2 years of experience as a LiDAR technician and a GIS background as well. And an interesting fact and icebreaker about Mayra, she's a rock climbing enthusiast and tries to rock climb every single day that she can. So for any rock climbers out there, feel free to tag Mayra on that. But it's great. It's a pleasure to have Mayra join us today to speak to her journey, what got her interested, and some of the experiences and work she's been doing with us here at CircuitStream. Now, what will we be covering today? And this is the agenda laid out just so you can all have your expectations set. So today we will be covering the XR industry and trends, and this will take about 15 to 20 minutes or so. After that, we'll cover the importance of XR education, which is much shorter, about 5 minutes. And then we'll dive into CircuitStream for the new faces who haven't heard about us much, as well as our educational programs and courses to answer any questions you may have around those. Then we'll invite Mayra onto the stage to share her journey and story with CircuitStream. And then we'll wrap things up with our spring sale announcement and our live Q&A session at the very end of this open house here. Again, this is all recorded, so for those of you abroad who might need to go to sleep or wake up in the morning for work, we'll send you this recording to review later on. But if you do have questions, feel free to stick around. We'd love to answer any and all questions that do come in. So let's talk about the XR industry and trends. Now, XR, and I get this question a lot, can be applied, I would like to say, to almost any industry that comes to mind. And these are just a few industries that I myself like to list out there. And with that, the first one that I want to share with you all is retail. So I'm going to share a little video here. Actually, before I share the video, we're going to show you a quick 1 minute kind of use case brief video to just show you how you can use AR and VR. This one will be more so AR in a wide variety of different use cases there. So I'll toss in the video here and I'll be back in about a minute or so. Woo! Awesome. So that was the first video, just kind of touching on a lot of different use cases. This one was specifically for AR, but you can apply VR and MR to all these use cases and industries as well. And then first on the list that I'd love to share with you all is retail. And retail is a massive industry that is embracing both AR and VR. And the example I'm going to share with you here today is going to be IKEA and when they drop and place furniture in your room, so you can see what this looks like even before you go and purchase the physical item yourself. So here's a quick about 40-second video that I want to share with you all just to show you how retail is embracing AR and VR, mainly AR for this example here.
Hey, IKEA would like everyone to know about Place, our new augmented reality app. Built on Apple's new AR kit, you can easily place true-to-scale 3D models of IKEA furniture in your place. Scan, browse, select, move, and place. So that could mean less of this. And less of this. And probably more of this.
I see some people have used this in the chat. I've used it as well. It's actually been super helpful for myself. If you haven't had the chance to use and play around with it, check it out. It's a wonderful app to use, and a great example of how retail is embracing XR there. Now, the next point on the list is military, and military has actually been one of the, I would say, longer industries embracing and using this technology, because it was more so, I would say, they could afford it. Back in the day when this was super expensive, not a lot of people could use it. But I'm going to share a quick little video here of some great news that happened with the US Army and Microsoft, which is a big step for this industry as well. So this video that I'm going to share is going to be about 30 seconds long, just to give you an example of some news and the military using AR and VR as well. So that was some big news for the industry itself, and a massive deal that was done between the US Army and Microsoft, which is a big step for the industry itself. But another example of how military is embracing that. Now, the next point is automotive, and there's a lot of automotive companies out there embracing this technology as well. So a quick little video to show you all what this looks like in an automotive setting. This video is a little longer. It's about a minute 15 seconds long, but nonetheless, really cool ways of how the automotive industry is embracing this technology. All right, woo! Oh man, that gives me the shivers. But lots of companies are currently exploring this. We've worked with BMW. This was an example of how Kia is working with this, but still a great way to see some of the use cases that were presented there of how the automotive industry is working with that. And now following this is a little fashion video, an example that I want to share with you. And this is going to be more so towards makeup, but there's a lot of other use cases for the fashion industry that could be makeup related, clothing and garment related. So I'm going to share another quick little video here. This one's going to be about 20 seconds long, just kind of showing you what it looks like to use AR in a fashion setting here. So here it goes, and I'll be back soon.
You might be wondering what I'm doing. I'm trying out an app that lets me virtually try on makeup like lipstick or eyeshadow. It's just one of a number of apps that are using augmented reality to let you see how different shades look without actually having to put them on.
Quick little brief video there. But for makeup, garments, clothing, lots of different use cases for the fashion industry as well. I know my girl has used it a few times for the MAC brand, if I'm not mistaken. But this next video is going to be more so healthcare related. And it's going to be about a 50-second video here, but also showing you how healthcare is using and embracing this technology as well.
Today, HoloLens 2 is transforming our daily practice in surgery. It meets two objectives: ensuring maximum safety of the surgical procedure and optimizing the quality of the patient care. For example, I can communicate with other colleagues such as radiologists, infectious disease specialists to get their opinion during the surgery. And it is well known that this multidisciplinarity considerably improves patient management. The great strength of this application for HoloLens 2 is also and above all to provide surgical guidance. From the patient's CT scan, a 3D model of the skeleton is reconstructed and integrated into an application.
So French. Y a-t-il des Français ici dans l'audience? Any French people here? You love that French accent there. But another great example of how, and my apologies for the blurry screen here, of how healthcare and the medical industry are also embracing this technology. Now, the last 2 points that I want to touch on with some examples and videos are going to be higher education. And this is about a minute-long video to really show you how higher education is embracing this technology as well. So here's about a 50-second video. We've got one more to touch up on later on, and then we'll continue on.
The HoloLens is used right throughout our entire undergraduate and postgraduate education. It is a holographic image in mixed reality, so the students can see the image directly in front of them, but they can also see the external environment.
So everything from anatomy, where students can learn about the GI tract, right through to different patient scenarios where we can bring a condition to life in the form of a real person that they can seat in a classroom and walk a full 360 around and observe. So holo patient means that we've got a patient who's experiencing some sort of health crisis. So that could be everything from domestic violence right through to stroke or myocardial infarction.
Lovely. So we here at CircuitStream have actually noticed a lot of universities and schools currently exploring this with a similar use case that was just presented there. And the last point that I want to touch on is manufacturing here. Another quick little video that I'm going to share with you all, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritties here shortly.
Augmented reality in manufacturing?
It's new in general, but manufacturing is the latest industry to kind of hop on the augmented reality trend. What's perfect about it for manufacturing is there's so many opportunities to train people. Once you put the headset on and you start going through the trainings, it's very easy to follow the flow of what's going on. Because of this, it makes the training so much more engaging to the person doing it. Instead of going to a computer screen or listening to someone and possibly their bad habits or their shortcuts they take, you're going through sort of like in a video game where you see the instruction, you see a video right next to the machine, and then you can go right up to it and practice what you just learned.
Nice. And manufacturing, another big industry embracing this technology. And there's so many more industries that I could share with you and show you, but we've only got so much time here today. But I hope that gave you a good idea as to what industries are embracing this technology, how it's applied in some of the areas there, and to give you a bigger kind of idea as to what other industries might also be working with this technology. But the industry trends and growth is amazing, and it's grown so much in the last several years. And these are some interesting facts and data that I pulled from Price Waterhouse. They were saying that VR and AR have the potential to add 1.5 trillion to the global economy by 2030. massive growth there. And then similarly, they also mentioned that about 24 million jobs worldwide will be using AR and VR by 2030 for training, meetings, and to provide better customer service. So lots of growth. The trends are looking great. We're still in the early stages. So getting interested in this is a perfect time. It's not too late. We're just at the tip of the iceberg here currently. And what careers could you also be able to, dive into? And these are just some of the many careers that are open up, from being an XR developer, interaction designer, product manager and 3D artist, simulation engineer and researchers, as well as innovation managers and project managers, instructional designers, composers and sound designers, implementation leads, and QA specialists as well. Now, let's talk about the importance of XR education. We did cover some of the use cases here earlier, but just briefly touching up on remote and collaboration. Remote work is more common than ever nowadays, especially in light of COVID. But there's still a need for teams to interact and collaborate with one another. And XR collaboration platforms can facilitate meetings among remote colleagues and offer a range of tools that support team collaboration. And working remotely is setting new trends in the business world with enhanced productivity, cost savings for companies who have had high brick and mortar expenses to host and operate the companies. And now teams are collaborating daily through virtual communications, connecting to operate the production of products and provide services even with their customers. Now, going into training and education, the advantages of training with XR are becoming increasingly apparent as more and more companies adopt and test it. Now, XR training can be beneficial in manufacturing, healthcare and medicine, oil and gas, retail, among many of the other industries we just covered here earlier as well. And I think there was a very interesting fact from, or a statistic by SuperData, and research says that 70-ish% of the companies that are using VR are using it for training. And this can be digital twins of workplace settings that are created in VR with interactive 3D models that a trainee can practice on without the risk of damaging equipment, loss of resources, slowdowns in production, and personal danger. In other words, how do I like to put it? VR can help with training in situations that fall under the RIDE acronym: rare, impossible, dangerous, or expensive. And because VR engages the sense of proprioception, it harnesses our instinctive spatial understanding of the world around us. Now, we also have marketing and sales. And in the world of selling consumer goods, merchandising is the key. And many hours are spent by merchandising experts perfecting product displays and layouts and testing them with customers. VR and AR is used to let customers evaluate product placement and store layout, resulting in better displays, better product positioning, and generating higher and greater sales as well. And XR offers a clear edge when selling the advantages of products and services to prospective customers. Now, these include not only the ability to present information in a much more dynamic and interesting way, but also to help potential customers visualize and manipulate prototypes and have real input in the design process at an early stage. And then the last point there that I want to touch on is product development and testing. And I'm going to focus on the AEC industry here, architecture, engineering, and construction. The ability to visualize, collectively alter virtual prototypes before they are executed is a key advantage of using XR for collaboration that is particularly well suited to the fields such as the AEC, architecture, engineering, and construction. And this allows engineers to collaborate with others anywhere in the world to build, review, and test designs. An example of this could be VR for automotive engineers, let's say, to be able to test the aerodynamics of a vehicle that has not yet been physically built. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, but I do see that we have potentially some architects here, Sumer, an architect there, so great to see some architects in the audience. And I'm going to toss in a poll right here, right now, as to what industry are you a part of or interested in potentially applying this technology to. So I just published the poll. What industry are you interested in? Not all of them are listed there, but let me know in the polls tab there, what industry are you potentially planning to use AR and VR for? And I do see a lot of designers, education, gaming, architecture, really applicable to so many different areas. And why XR education? Well, we've seen XR is here to stay, and it's just growing through Price Waterhouse's data that we shared earlier. And there's this stigma that it's very hard to get into AR and VR and learn this yourself, that you need so many different things to get started. And that's not the case. We're here to overcome that stigma and to help people learn how to develop and build these experiences themselves. And lots of benefits, and why it's important to focus and invest in XR education, specifically for enterprises or those looking to apply it to work, is cost efficiency, saving money on resources that would be wasted otherwise physically. Greater control, actually being able to work and collaborate together on different experiences, and shorten feedback loops as well. And in the terms or example of one of our partners and students from Invista, she's an innovation engineer who builds this for the company. And anytime there's some changes or iterations to be made, it's super quick. What would take days or months to get a response from a third party actually takes hours or a day or so to get those changes done and to bring it back to your current workplace there. And learning XR skills is an advantage. 60% of the world's XR content is made with Unity, and that's why we focus on Unity in our programs here. There's 601% demand growth for those with Unity and Unreal skills. 57% projected Unity developer job growth over the next few years into this year, and I'm sure that's growing as well. And they were saying that 1.1 million US programming jobs were expected to go unfulfilled last year. And this is probably still the same today. There was 1,400% projected AR VR job growth in 2020, and those with Unity skills were expected to earn $20,000 more in salary than those without. So now that we've covered the industry a little bit, the trends, the use cases, who's embracing it and whatnot, for those of you who are new to us here at CircuitStream, who are we and what do we do? Well, CircuitStream was founded in 2015 when everyone was on the hype train to build content. We realized a gap in helping people learn how to build this themselves or apply it back to work. And since 2015, we've had the pleasure to teach over 35,000 people how to develop, design, and implement these projects wherever they may be. We are also a Unity authorized training partner and channel partner, as well as an Oculus ISV and Microsoft mixed reality partner as well. Now, we're a team of about 20 located all around the world, in North America, South America, Asia, and Europe. And there's a lot of my colleagues here backstage, from Luciana, Dayon, Kyle, Brendan, and Jerry, as well as really from all over the world here. So very international and global company there. Now, we are here at Unity. We have some of these badges that we offer here, but we'll cover this later on today. And these are just some of the happy students and partners that we've had join us into our courses and programs. From Apple, the US Navy, Hershey's, the chocolate company, various universities and post-secondary institutions, to Lockheed Martin, Boeing, YouTube, and so on. So it's been great to have these people from different areas join us, and from all different industries, as you can see here as well. Now, typically, these people who have joined us for these courses and programs have done one of these two: our XR Development with Unity course or our XR Project Accelerator. Now, this I'll touch on these courses a little bit, but just wanted to highlight what these previous students of ours have done with us. Now, I'd love to take this time to invite my colleague, Jerry Medeiros, onto the stage here. Jerry is our head of education here at CircuitStream. Super great to have him join us, and a pleasure. Jerry, great seeing you. Thank you for having us here.
Hello. Hey, Steph. Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me and see me well? Is it all fine there?
It's all good for me. Let's check out the chat.
Great. It
Chat,
seems so.
give us a shout. It looks like hi, hello.
Hello.
All good.
All right.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, hey, Jerry, thanks so much for joining us here today. Great to have you again with us on another open house. Today, I'd love to cover a little bit, about yourself, who you are for those who have never actually had the chance to meet you. And then we'll dive into our courses and programs, get your insights on it. And then as we collect questions around them, we can answer some of those and continue on. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jerry.
Sure. Yeah, that's always a difficult question. But yeah, for you guys that have never seen me before, I'm Jerry. I'm here in Brazil, in São Paulo. I have been working here at CircuitStream for a little bit more than 1 year. And my background is basically in game development. So I started about 10 years ago with game development, worked with mobile games, mainly web games a little bit as well. And then in about like 4 or 5 years ago, the XR industry started to grow. So I needed to learn it, and I jumped into a couple of companies that were trying to get it right here. So I developed a couple of applications for lots of different industries, like most of them training, some games in VR as well, but most of them simulations or training. So yeah, I think that's me.
That's brief. Nice. I love it. And thank you very much for sharing that, Jerry. So now that we know a little bit about yourself here, let's go into, what we have to offer here at CircuitStream. So for the audience here today, we here at CircuitStream have a wide variety of free workshops and webinars, as well as more in-depth courses to really help you learn how to design and develop both VR and AR experiences yourself. So the first course that I would love to cover with yourself here, Jerry, is our XR Development with Unity course. And just briefly for the audience here today, this is our beginner-friendly program for those looking to be or learn more about the development side of VR and AR experiences. It's a 10-week-long course with 4 hours of instruction per week. 3 of those hours are in class. There's a 1-hour private session as well that we focus on one-on-one support to really help you with your learning needs and to build out your own personal project together. Now, I'll touch on, the dates and everything later on today, but this used to be our old curriculum for the XR Development with Unity course, where we did an intro to Unity, some C#, went into UI, VR, and AR. But now we've put together a new XR Development with Unity course curriculum. So Jerry, I'd love to hear, who is this course really tailored for? Who would be good for this program?
Sure. So as you mentioned, this is a beginner-friendly course. So we start from the very beginning, giving an intro to Unity, how to use it, and then into very, very basic concepts of C# programming. And then we increase that complexity until people actually learn how to develop an application from scratch. So this course, I would say it's basically for people that want to become developers. Like if you want to learn how to build custom interactions, how to navigate in between AR and VR, but actually create your own scripts and behaviors, your own projects. So it's more inclined towards the ones that want to either learn how to develop, like how to write scripts, write components, write VR and AR applications, or some people that would like to interact with programmers and understand what they do, how complex things are. So yeah, I've seen basically those two profiles, people that want to become programmers, developers, and people that want to interact with that world. And maybe like if you're a project manager and you want to be closer to the production, you can understand how complex it is to actually build stuff.
Right. And I've also noticed a lot of, managers or leaders in different areas and businesses who don't want to be potential developers, but really speak to the technology and understand what their teams are also working on. So another great course to get the entire development process down and speak to it better, if not be a developer yourself there. Briefly, Jerry, how does this new curriculum differ from the older curriculum that we had?
Yeah, so actually, in terms of content, we still teach the same thing. Like the course didn't change the main objectives and what people are going to learn. What our instructors, our team decided to do is reshape the format a little bit. So now we made it work in a way that we can provide tools for our students to have a portfolio. So each one of those themes, as you're calling there, they are, except for the first one, they're all about some projects. So you're going to learn how to program in Unity with C#, creating a small project that you can showcase. And if you are seeking for a job, you can just go there and say, I built this. And we also provide a couple of challenges. So you can have the opportunity to try out new stuff. And not only will we teach in class, but also to research a little bit more and build something cool. So I would say that's the main difference. So now we have been creating small projects in class, and people are learning those things progressively. They can have a portfolio and show up. And in the end, we now have this final project, which is basically, we don't decide, like as instructors, we don't decide what are going to be taught and what are going to be built in there. So we run a little session with the students to decide what they want to learn and what they want to build. So we built during the 4 last sessions a project that is always different. So if you're in the morning or in the evening, or if you come like 3 months from now, every time it's going to be a different thing. But the important thing there is people are going to learn first, they're going to see how the process is again from scratch. So now that I know all of those skills, how can I use them in a real project that I can like plan, analyze the feasibility, and implement? And also there is some collaboration with the other colleagues. And in the end, you have like one more cool project to use as a portfolio. And this one is usually more complex, and we can like teach things that are not originally in the curriculum. So in the past class, for example, there was like VR in multiplayer, hand recognition in AR. So wherever it's possible to do in 4 sessions, 2 weeks, and the students are willing to learn, we can include that in the project. So yeah, it's all about projects, and the learning objectives, they are around the projects.
That makes sense. So you learn in a theme, you build a project to really capture what you've learned. So you'll come out with several projects in addition to your own personal project, eh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, and that's great. Again, this is our beginner-friendly program, 10 weeks long, 4 hours per week. So lots of things that you can take out and show for, add to your portfolio. Several projects to really come out with and show what you've captured there. So that makes sense, Jerry. Thanks for sharing a little bit about the XR Development with Unity course. Now, I'd also love to hop over to our new design course, the XR Interaction Design and Prototyping program. Now, similarly to the development course, this is also 10 weeks long, 4 hours of instruction per week, 3 hours in class with a 1-hour private session. This one starts on June 14th, but as I mentioned, it's beginner friendly, and how I see this differing, and Jerry, you can touch on this here shortly, is the design course is really kind of tailored for those who don't want to touch programming or coding, really learn the UX side of things. So I'm going to highlight what the curriculum is for the Interaction Design and Prototyping course. But Jerry, if you could walk us through this course, and firstly, who is this course good for and a good fit?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. And this course it's completely different from the other one. Actually, you're gonna learn. Unity is such a complex tool. There are lots of things that we can do in there. So we noticed that we have like lots of designers, artists, product managers, people that want to get into XR. They want to prototype, convey their ideas, but they don't want to become programmers. Like they are not interested in the coding stuff. And if you're not interested in coding, you are always gonna have some limitations. Like you're gonna do what the tool does for you, but that's not a problem. Sometimes everything that you want is actually demonstrate an idea or create a prototype to get some funding or to work together with developers that are gonna complement that. So this course is focused on that. If someone is already a designer, a graphic designer, a 3D modeler, someone that is an artist, or someone that is just a beginner but doesn't want to go the programming route, so this course is for this specific audience. And the way it differs is that it's more focused on the creative tools that Unity offers. So we start with an introduction, like a conceptual introduction on interaction design for XR, like what is different, what are the human factors that we need to take into consideration. You mentioned proprioception, so we're gonna see how to use proprioception to create presence, immersion, grounding, how to use the imagination in this in AR and VR application. So we start like with this solid ground on what are the good practices, what are not, what can cause motion sickness, and what cannot. So it's focused on creating this design knowledge there. And then we dive into Unity. So we start like, this is the editor, how we use things, how we can use the internal prototyping tools in Unity to create virtual worlds. So if you're, for example, prototyping museum application, you can just use what exists inside of Unity to recreate that museum without the need to be like a 3D modeler or use an external software. So we cover a little bit of the terrain tool, Pro Builder, Pro Grids, those things. Then we dive into VR. So we're going to be using the XR Interaction Toolkit in this course. You can learn how to implement locomotion, grabbing stuff, throwing stuff around. So the basics, so you can have an idea prototype in there. And then I go from there. So you learn how to make it look beautiful with the graphic stuff, with the visual effect stack in Unity, how to work with cameras, make like cutscenes and so on and so forth. And then in the end, we jump into AR with Unity Mars, which is one of the most powerful, I would say it's the most powerful tool out there for creating AR experiences. And it doesn't require coding as well to create prototypes and to convey ideas. So that's basically it. It's all about conveying or demonstrating your ideas either for AR or VR using Unity with high complexity, but with no coding. So it's a different skill set.
That makes sense. Perfect. And for both of these courses here, there's no experience required. If you have some background, it will help you out, but it is beginner friendly and there's no experience required for the development course or the design course that we just touched on. But Jerry, you did mention it a little bit, but I do get this question quite often. Just briefly, you know, if someone is debating between the two courses, the design course and the development course, how would you, briefly put that? Which course would be a better fit for one versus the other?
That's not an easy that's not an easy question. I think it depends on what you want for a career, like what you are trying to achieve. The development course is gonna give you a better understanding of coding and programming logic. You're gonna learn Unity as well, but it's more focused on creating custom experience. So if you're looking to actually creating a complete game, or a complete application from scratch, or creating custom interactions that Unity doesn't provide, or if you wanna become a programmer, a developer, so this course is for you. It's more like on the technical bits of the things. We're gonna learn a little bit of, not a little bit, actually a lot of coding in there. So yeah, this is more focused on the programming path. Of course, you interact with Unity, but you're gonna be a developer in the end. The other course, it's if you're not interested in the coding side of things, like that you're not gonna become a developer, but you want to use Unity to create demonstrations, prototypes. Maybe you want to do something with product placement. You want to create interfaces. So this course is for you. So you are going to have the limitations about like, well, Unity doesn't do this for me, so I don't know how to do it. I need a developer, someone like that. But on the other hand, you're going to know like the whole creative stack in Unity with animations, visual effects, cameras, and even a little bit of VR. Not a little bit, enough of VR for you to create a prototype and maybe get funding or get someone to work with you on that project. So those are the two routes. One is for the programmer one. The other one is more like a designer, technical artist in Unity. But the choice should be made based on your career path, like your project for your life, where you want to be after these courses. So that's what needs to be taken into consideration while deciding one or the other.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing, Jerry. Those insights are always helpful. I know a lot of people ask us these questions, so it's great to hear from a professional like yourself about the two kind of differences and how they differ from each other. And thank you again. So I'd love to toss in a quick poll here as well, just to work with the audience here. Out of curiosity, seeing that we just touched on some beginner-friendly programs, how much experience do you have yourself in Unity? 0 being I've never heard of Unity before, 10 being that you're the Chuck Norris of Unity. I'm going to toss in a poll right now, but it's always great to see, the experience levels of the people. We just covered our beginner-friendly programs, which leads us, Jerry, into our Live XR Project Accelerator course. Now, this one is for those who have that Unity experience, who have worked on VR and AR projects before. And how we approach this is that it's 8 hours per week, 5 hours of instruction per week here. 8 weeks long, 5 hours of instruction per week, 3 hours in class, 2 hours of private sessions to really accelerate what you've been working on or something new that you want to try while covering some more intricate and advanced topics. So here's what the curriculum looks like, and it's broken down into 4 labs. Jerry, would love to hear about how we've approached this course, and again, who would be a good fit for it that you would say?
Cool. So yeah, this course is more for someone that is already on the path. So if you're a complete beginner, this course is not for you. You assume that you already either taken one of the other 2 courses or learned a bunch on your own. It's not a prerequisite, but you don't need to take our courses. But we're gonna go through some assessment to know where you fall in terms of skill set. So this course is focused on someone that does have a project. So either you are working for a company and you want to complete or polish a project, or you want to apply for a job and you want to have a piece that you want to show. I don't know. So if you already have a project, you have been working on that, you want extra help from an expert or from our experts here to either complete or polish the project, that course is in this case for you. The main focus is on your project. So we're going to have not only 1, but 2 hours of private one-on-ones with an expert. And this expert is the best person that we have for the type of project you are working on. So if you're working on a HoloLens, you're going to have our expert in HoloLens. If you're working with Oculus Quest, the person that we have here that knows the most about HoloLens. Well, if you want to make a game, we're going to get you a game developer with experience in that. So it's all about this. We also have the live sessions where we're going to cover the top-notch technology in Unity. So we're going to be bringing the experimental features, the future of the technology, the XR technology in Unity. So we just assume this person already knows a bunch of basic stuff in Unity. What can we bring to push that knowledge even further thinking ahead? Like what's going to be the future of XR technology in Unity? So yeah, this course is more focused on a project. So if you don't have one, you need to come up with one because it's a lot of work on your project. And the sessions are based on the live sessions. They are based on the necessary skills for you to advance the technology. So it's not like just basic Unity knowledge, but more applied concepts. We use like the best practice. This is something like usually in the beginner course, we teach something not in the best way to do or to apply in a final project because we're more important in teaching the concept. So, well, this is the easiest way to do this. Maybe not the best one for performance, for example. So in this course, we're going to bring like the best practice. We assume that you already know, you're familiar with Unity to some extent. So we're going to bring what is the best way of doing things. How's the best way to organize this project? how is the best way to determine whether something is possible or not for a specific hardware. So this course is all about what you want to build in a little bit more advanced fashion, I would say.
Perfect. Hey, that helps so much, Jerry, and thank you so much for joining us here today for your introduction. Little bit of insight about each of the courses that we have to offer here. If the audience has any more questions around the courses, feel free to toss them into the questions tab. We'll help and be sure to answer all of those at the very end of this open house here. But Jerry, that'll be it for the moment. We'll re-invite you back for the Q&A. Thank you so much for joining us. And with this, I would love to take this time to invite our 2021 alumni, Mayra Zamora, onto the stage here. Mayra, again, is a LiDAR technician at McKimmon-Creed, has a GIS background. So as she's making her way onto the stage here slowly, I'm just going to take a look at the results of the polls. So it looks like that we had quite a few beginners in the audience here today with some more advanced learners. And then if I go down to the industries that we have, it looks like we had design, UI, UX as the leader here, other for other industries, gaming, film, and architecture as well. And then for experience with VR and AR, it looks like we have, again, more so beginners here in the audience today. So let's see if Mayra is going to be able to hop onto the stage here. Mayra, if you're backstage, feel free to join me here slowly. But as you're making your way, hopefully everything's okay. I'll take a look at the chat and see if there are any questions here that I can get to, or some very interesting things in the chat. So let's see. It looks like Mahrin Raza found this super helpful for himself, so that's great. Okay. It looks like, yeah, Mayra might be having some issues accessing the stage here, but we'll see. Hopefully everything's all right on her end. If not, we can dive right into the spring sale announcement. If she makes her way afterwards, that would be great. Then we can hear about her experience with us as well. But with that, I'm going to take a look at the questions tab here. And approximately, this one's from Devonte, but we can answer that later on. The interaction course, if I'm not mistaken, Devonte has about 2 to 3 projects that you can expect to come out with. And then for Will, great seeing you here, Will, today. We'll push students that took the XR. Yeah, so you'll actually learn a lot about the UX and VFX side of things for Unity. But again, we'll touch up on it here a little later today. But it looks like Mayra might be having some issues joining us, which not a big deal at all. Hopefully she'll be able to join us by the end of this workshop and webinar here. But with that, I'll slowly start getting into our spring sale announcement. If Mayra is able to join us later on, we'll then be able to hear some of her experience, her background, her journey with us. Oh, there she is. Woo! Okay. No worries at all. Great seeing you joining us. Thanks so much for joining us, Mayra.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, hey, Mayra, again, pleasure and an honor for you to have you join us here today. Mayra herself, as I mentioned, is a LiDAR technician. She has a GIS background as well. She has recently taken a course with us here at CircuitStream. It was the XR Development with Unity program. But Mayra, we would love to hear, some questions that I have prepared for you here today. And the first thing that I'm sure the audience would love to know is, what is your background and how did your curiosity peak with virtual reality and augmented reality?
Thank you, Stefan, and the CircuitStream, because I love this course. So the way I got into this course, I saw a TikTok video of someone just putting an augmented reality 3D map of subway map, and it was like you just look at it through your phone. And I thought, I'm a map maker, I'm a cartographer. What extra step do I need to do to put this in augmented reality? Like that's how I got into it, and that's what sparked my curiosity.
Very cool. And I believe we were talking about this before. Was it a New York City map that you saw had this AR capability about it?
Yes, it was.
Very cool, very cool. And so, you had this background as a LiDAR technician in GIS. You saw this really cool application with maps, augmented reality. With this, seeing that your curiosity started to peak with AR and VR, as you were doing your research, where did you look and how did you come across CircuitStream?
I think I searched every corner of the web because I wanted to make sure that if I was going to get something, I made the best decision. I didn't want to pick something that, I was going to regret later. And I probably took a few months making this decision. I looked at other places, and I'm glad I made I made a call with the advisors to figure out if this was actually the thing for me. And they said, no, I don't think this is exactly what you're looking for. And I'm like, I'm glad, because I was about to pull the plug and pay for that before getting that advisor call. Mm-hmm. So I looked everywhere, and I think that this was the best outcome for me. So yeah.
Awesome. And that means a lot to us. So you were doing your due diligence. Hey, you reached out to a lot of different places, came across us here at CircuitStream, probably joined us for a few workshops and webinars before you were able to actually, make that final decision, right?
Yes, I did. Definitely.
Perfect. Awesome. So, I'm curious to hear, and we can touch up on this a little bit later on, but how was your, you decided to join us here at CircuitStream. Tell us about the experience. How did you feel before? How was it during? And, now that you've slowly wrapped things up, how was everything at the end of that journey?
So my experience previously, I have no coding experience. So that was one of the things, that was one of the things I was really scared about, because I thought, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do some coding. Luckily, they do have that 3-week prior to your 10-week course start where they get you an introduction to C scripting class, which I thought was amazing, because you also get an understanding of how the pace of the course is, how things are set up prior in case like you need any accommodations or anything. Just ask your professor previously. So right. I was so scared previously, but going in, the thing that I love is that your life, the recordings will be accessible to you. So if you can't keep up, you can do it later. So that to me was heaven. I'll stop talking for now for a little.
No, that's awesome. So, you joined us, you loved the live sessions, and the fact that we actually record all of the live classes, in case you're sick or you have other commitments, you're able to review those recordings later on and also prepare whatever you may have missed. So that makes sense. Now, these are the live sessions and classes, and we also have private one-on-one sessions available for our students as well. How was your experience in those private one-on-one sessions?
Oh my God, I don't know if Nakisha's here, but I love her, and I am so glad that I was paired up with her, because I was just talking to her prior to this. I had my one-on-one with her, and we bounced off of ideas, because I think she can do anything. She has experience with LiDAR, and she has experience with the with other devices, and I think she is so knowledgeable, and we were just able to like help each other. I'm like, this is my GIS, and we were just able to intersect, and I don't know, I love my one-on-one instructor. I think that you can use those times to either catch up on anything you were understanding in class, or she said, anything you want to learn, this is what your hour is for. And so I love it, because there are times where I thought I had to be prepared. She was so chill, like, no, let's just, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to learn? And so I thought it was amazing. I enjoyed that 1 hour with her every single time.
I know. And I've told this to Nakisa as well. I'm sure you've shared it with her. She's loved the time with you as well. And that means a lot to all of us here. So, in those one-on-one sessions, you were working on your personal project, right? Tell us a little bit about the project you were working on.
Yes. Okay. So as a LiDAR technician, for anybody who doesn't know, it's light detection and ranging. It's a point cloud, and I deal with point clouds every day. And I thought, and I create 3D models off of them, off the point clouds. And I thought, how cool would it be if I could see this in virtual reality or augmented reality? And that was my thought the entire time. And so for my final project, I basically imported LiDAR LiDAR data into the virtual reality where you can put it on your Oculus Quest, and also my 3D models. And I learned along the way different ways to import different file formats. But yeah, mine was in Exploratorium of Austin with the Oculus Quest 2. So you can go in there with your Oculus Quest 2 and navigate my 3D models and LiDAR terrain data. So that was my thing. It was super simple, but I just wanted to satisfy my curiosity.
That makes sense. And that curiosity of AR, VR with your GIS background, that's such a cool project. We'd love to see it sometime later on, yes. whether it's, you know, in the future, whatever it may be. But thank you for sharing that. Okay, so, you know, you had this background, you were looking for some programs, you joined us for our courses, had a great experience. What's next for you now, Myra? What do you have planned?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, you know, I still continue. I want to take my GIS skills with me. I feel like that's something I can carry on to any industry. I definitely want to carry that and add it to AR, VR. So I am really going to start looking for jobs in the future for an XR developer job to be able to do geo design, geo modeling, and pretty much like the construction and engineering industry, for people to really be able to visualize their designs prior to, you know, you making them. And that way stakeholders, collaborators, anybody involved in the process gets to figure out really what something's going to look like before it's made. So that's where I decide to go. That's where I want to go in the future. So yes.
Woo! Super exciting. Well, do keep us updated with how it is. You know, you always have access to ourselves, our team, our network, even after your time. So, you know, we're always here to help any way we can.
Cherry on the top.
Awesome. Well, with that, Myra, do you have any insights or final remarks you'd like to share with the audience? You know, some things that you were curious about before that they might find of value to know.
Yeah, for sure. So you know, I've been in a lot of different events and rooms, especially Clubhouse. People ask, how do I get started with XR? How do I get started? And the question I hear over and over again is YouTube University, Google. Which, you know, that's great. That's great. And I tried and I gave up, and I have things like life and jobs and stuff, you know, so I gave up. And, you know, I thought to myself, this is what I need to invest my time. I need to go in all in, because otherwise I feel like I'm just going to continue to put this off. And I think that if you're a person who loves YouTube University, this is just, you're going to love this. It's going to be amazing. And that is my thing. I think that how to get started is up to you. Use YouTube, use Google, but this was the best thing for me. And I think that anybody else would also love the course that you guys give personally. So yeah.
Oh, stop. Hey, thank you so much, Myra. And I hope this was super helpful for you all attending here today. Myra, really looking forward to hearing more about the work you're doing with Nikisa and outside of the Circuit Stream programs. Do keep us in the loop. But with that, you know, really do appreciate your time here today. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to dive into the spring sale here shortly. So feel free to hop off, but I'd love to re-invite you back onto the stage in about 10 minutes here for any questions people have for yourself that might be sitting in the questions tab. So I'll give you a shout and let you know when to join us again.
All right. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you as well, Myra. Awesome. Well, hey, I hope that was super helpful just to hear some stories and perspectives of some of our students here at Circuit Stream. But with that, let's get into the spring sale announcement. It's that time of year, folks. Learn XR development and design. This spring sale that we'll be announcing here right now, it will only last 2 weeks. We also have a few dozen seats available, discounted seats for those who are interested in learning the development or the design side of things for AR and VR development or projects and experiences they are creating. So again, this is going to last for 2 weeks. We have a few dozen discounted seats available, and we do like to keep our courses and classes as small as possible. We have a capacity of about, I would say, 15 to 20 students per class session, just to keep it more intimate. So if we hit that capacity, we will have to move you on to a later course and program. But let's dive into the spring sale announcement here. So we will be offering, for you all joining us today, 30% off of your course of choice. This includes our 10-week XR Developments with Unity course. Typically, it was at $39.50. Now 30% discount to $27.65. We have an international cohort and course for those in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and the Oceania area as well. This one starts on May 25th and is our international cohort. We have our North American one on July 6th as well. We have morning, afternoon, and evening sessions and classes available for students to attend. So the morning session could work for some people abroad. Our evening session could work for some people abroad as well. So courses are open to all, but that's what we have available for the XR Development with Unity coming here shortly. Then that new XR Interaction Design and Prototyping course that Jerry and I touched on, also 30% off. Our first course and cohort starting up for that one is, I don't think it's actually in July. Let me confirm that here for you all. I may have mistyped that. It's actually June 14th and not July 14th. So June 14th is our Interaction Design and Prototyping course, 30% off of this one, followed by our more advanced program, right? The XR Development and Design course are beginner friendly. Our XR Project Accelerator program, this one is set to begin actually on May 25th. So there's actually another typo that I've put together here. So my apologies there. May 25th is our XR Project Accelerator course. And this is 8 weeks long, 5 hours per week. Typically it was at $44.50, but with the 30% discount, we're offering it at $31.15 here. And then we also have our C# Scripting Fundamentals course. The next one is on May 18th. So if you have any questions around that, let us know. It is held monthly, whereas the other 3 courses earlier are held every 2.5 months or so. So 30% off of your choice of any of these courses that you would like to take advantage of for the next 2 weeks with the limited seats we have available. But we do offer bundles with each of these courses as well. So if you didn't want to just do the course itself with the 30% off, we do offer the course as a bundle as well. So our development course, that beginner-friendly program, is also bundled with the 3-week C# Scripting Fundamentals course. And this was what Myra was talking about earlier. What really helped her overcome that coding fear that she was kind of concerned about, got to know us, the approach that we do, and help her prepare for that longer 10-week program. Now, this bundle is called our XR Developer Starter Pack Bundle. It includes the 10-week course, the 3-week C# course, and an Oculus Quest 2 headset at almost a $1,500 discount for $3,000 there. Now, if you're interested, let us know. We'll toss in some links here very shortly. And then we've got that design course that we were talking about earlier, and this also comes as a bundle as well. We have the Interaction Design and Prototyping course on June 14th, so I got the dates right on that one. And it also comes as a bundle, the 10-week design course with the 3-week C# course that you can take whenever. I would say take it after the design course and do it before the development course. The C# course, again, comes bundled with this design and an Oculus Quest 2 headset as our designer starter pack bundle that we offer. And this is also reduced to $3,000. Now with this, it wouldn't be fair if we didn't have a bundle for our XR Project Accelerator course, that more advanced program. This one is going to be held on May 25th. It also comes bundled with a 3-week C# course if you want to brush up on your previous C# skills, and an Oculus Quest 2 headset as well for $3,500. Now, if you're an alumni, give us a shout in the chat here. Alumni, you get 50% off during the spring sale and special. That will be 50% off the development course, 50% off the design course, the accelerator course as well, and the C# course for anyone who hasn't had the chance to take that as a part of a bundle later. So feel free to reach out to us. I'm actually going to toss in a little kind of, how would I say it? Little link here for you all. So let me put this together here. For all of you, again, our spring sale is live now for you all who are in attendance. It will be publicly announced tomorrow. So if you are interested, please don't hesitate to check it out or reach out to us. I've just tossed in a little call to action here. Check out the offers. Feel free to speak to myself, to Kyle, my colleague, Brendan in the backstage as well. Any of us would be more than happy to help answer any questions you may have. And if you're interested, feel free to make an application. That application will actually hold your discount and seat for 24 hours. If we can't connect with you within 24 hours, we will then have to move it to the next person that might be interested. But with that, again, we have payment plans and financing options in place for the 30% off options, for the bundle, discounted bundle spring sale options as well. So you can do this whether it's a one-time payment or through one of the 3 payment plans, our 3-month payment plan, 6-month payment plan, or 12-month payment plan. So if you're interested, feel free to let us know, give us a shout. You can make an application on our website or reach out to myself, Kyle, or Brendan. We would all be more than happy to shed light on this. The process is started manually on our end. But reach out to us, make an application online. I would say make that application to hold the discounted seat for you. But for any of these courses, a Mac or a Windows computer will do just fine, as well as an Android or an iPhone for these mobile experiences. GPU plays the biggest factor for computers. If you want to render and see what you've created yourself in the courses and programs, you might need a strong GPU computer, but you can still work with Unity and participate in the course if your computer isn't strong enough GPU-wise there. Now, no matter what headset or device that you want to build for, we would love to have you with us and help you build for any of these headsets, devices, or anything that's not listed here. Really, how the workflow works is you've got an idea, you build it in Unity, and then you push it out to one of the devices that you want to build it for. So feel free to let us know if you have any questions around our courses, programs, the workflow, just to get some insights. You can chat with myself, with my colleague Kyle or Brendan. We'd be happy to do that for yourself. And that's me right there to the left. You've seen Kyle in the chat, Brendan in the chat as well. Any of us would be more than happy to support you. So again, if you're interested, download a syllabus or apply now at circuitstream.com/learning. We'd love to hear from you, chat with you, and have you with us potentially. But with that, I would love to invite Jerry and Myra back onto the stage here. I've seen so many great questions waiting to be answered, and I'm terribly sorry to keep some of those questions waiting. But with that, great seeing you here, Jerry. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm sure Myra will be joining here shortly. Hey, Myra, thanks again for joining us. Woo!
Thank you.
Awesome. So we've got, I think, a lot of questions in the questions tab that have not yet been answered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by upvotes currently. Then I'll go to the oldest questions that we may have not answered. But this one is from Devonte, and I would say this one's for yourself here, Jerry. Devonte's asking approximately how many portfolio pieces and what types, i.e. level design UI, are expected as outcomes of the new interaction course?
Cool. Yeah, that's a good question. We don't have like 100% of this. I don't know, like 100% sure. We are still making some adjustments, but you can expect at least 3 plus your personal project that we're going to be working on during the one-on-ones. So the first project, it's going to have like a bigger project that we're going to learn how to import a variety of different types of assets, work with illumination, UI, and cutscenes in the same project. So this is going to be the VR one. We're going to have one in AR as well using Unity Mars, which is going to guide us through prototyping in AR, making UI interfaces that work for AR as well. So we are still making like some tweaks, but you can expect at least 3, maybe 4.
Perfect. Awesome. And thanks for sharing that, Jerry. Here's one from Sumer, and Sumer is asking us, does the XR development with Unity course provide enough content where graduates can be self-sufficient on their journey to making XR apps and or be good enough foundation for career paths. So I'll actually toss this one to you, Myra. With your experience in our course, do you feel like the course was sufficient enough to start your own XR journey and build a foundation towards other paths?
Yes, definitely. I feel like there's a lot of projects that we work on, on day 1, 2. I feel like every single time you always have something to work on. We have UI, locomotion system. I mean, most of these things you and your one-on-one instructor can work on within 5 minutes. I mean, this one time when I was short on time, Nakisha and I just did this locomotion system with paired up with some other stuff super quickly. And yeah, there are a lot of things that you will be able to have on your portfolio, which I'm incredibly grateful for. There are a lot of projects I think that you will be able to, and yeah.
Awesome. And Jerry, any thoughts on your end there that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think this question is definitely better answered by a student, someone that went through the process. So yeah, but that's what we try to do. Like, we try to go over the main things that can give you autonomy so you can build your own projects in the future. So I think so. I would say so. Definitely yes.
Perfect. Awesome. And thanks. So hopefully that helps answer your question there. Next question here is from Will. And Will was wondering, how would the interaction design and prototyping course push knowledge of students that took the XR development course already? Will it be redundant at all?
Yeah, no. So that's a really, really good question. And there is a small portion that is redundant, but it's just like the first sessions because we need to make sure that everyone is familiar with the Unity editor. But the majority of the things, they are new. So we look into Unity from a different perspective. We're going to teach like a lot more on animations, more in depth. Cinemachine, that is something that we don't touch on in the dev course. Lots of shaders, particles. So we really go that route in the development course. We introduce Unity Mars. There's something that we don't use in the development course. The XR Interaction Toolkit. So it definitely complements the other course. There is a small overlap because we need to make sure everyone is comfortable, but the majority of the course is on a different perspective, a different way of using Unity, different tool set, different skill set.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Jerry. I hope that helps answer your question there, William, but let us know in the chat if not. And then this one's from Luciana, and Luciana was wondering, which course is most likely to get someone hired in this field and at what level and expected salary? So maybe if I could toss this back to you, Luciana, which field are you talking about? The XR field in general, a specific industry, and at what level and expected salary? I mean, Jerry, you could speak to that a little bit. I would say intermediate level, depending on if it's the beginner-friendly program. Salaries really depends. But any insights there, Jerry?
Yeah, so both courses actually, they can help you get hired because there are a variety of different professions and roles out there. So the development course is going to help you get into a programmer programmer role. So it's one type, like an engineer, like AR, VR engineer, maybe if you want to work in games, like a game developer, game engineer. So this is more where we're going to land. Whether the other course, the design one, is going to help you to get a tech artist role, for example, or a prototype. I've seen yesterday that Facebook is hiring an XR prototype. Like it's a role that they created just for someone to create prototypes in VR. And they are requiring Unity knowledge. So it's basically like what a regular in terms of like a traditional designer would do using Figma or something like that. But they expect the person to do that inside of Unity. So those jobs are starting to pop up there. But both courses, they can help you get or land jobs in different positions, different titles. Regarding the level, it's going to be an entry to intermediate level. It depends a lot on how much you dedicate your time to actually push forward. Like if you can polish the projects even more and add even more things to the project so you can get more and more familiar with the engine, you could definitely get like a better, like a job, a more advanced job. But it would be like an entry to intermediate level, I would say. And regarding salary, it depends a lot on where you are and how the industry is in there, but the salaries in this area in general, they are not bad. So you can expect like a starting point or maybe for 50, 100K per year as a very, very basic entry level one. But it depends. Like they vary a lot from place to place, but they are above average for any entry level jobs in other industries, I would say.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Jerry. This one's from Darren that I can speak to you about quickly. He's asking, do you provide any job search assistance to students who obtain your certification? So though we don't have a dedicated career services department here at CircuitStream, our instructors would love to try and help out each student the best way they can. We do also share job opportunities and postings that we come across in our Slack channel. And in addition to some people part of the community on Slack coming in and sharing postings from their own studios and companies as well. So though we can't promise anything, I like to compare it like a university degree. You can get that degree in the tools, but there is some work you got to put in afterwards. So thanks for that question there, Darren. This one's from Pushkar. Pushkar is asking, will you teach visual scripting for designers? Jerry, would love to toss this over to you. Will you teach visual scripting for designers in the courses?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, not during the lessons. This is something that is a little bit out of what we're planning for this course. We're already giving a bunch of tools to make you proficient and competent in Unity. But if you want to learn visual scripting during the one-on-ones, that's perfectly fine. So Unity does provide now one tool, it's called Bolt, that you can do visual scripting. If you want to like push your prototypes in forward with behaviors, you can definitely do that with visual scripting and get support from your one-on-one instructor. But in the regular curriculum, we didn't include this because we had a lot of other things that we think they are more important for someone to get started. But you can go, yeah. It's not hard to learn like both, so we can assist with extra material and you can go over that in your one-on-ones.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. This question here is from Alejandro, mainly for us here at CircuitStream. And Alejandro is wondering about the Design XR course. I saw it has a certification and a preparation for another certification. More details around it. So briefly, there's a certification of completion provided by CircuitStream, which is recognized by Unity on completion of the course. And Jerry, you can talk a little bit about this other certification that it will help you prepare for.
Yeah, so this course is designed around providing some skills for you to be able to get the Unity Certified Associate Artist. So one certification is, as Steph mentioned, our own certification. If you complete the project, present the project, and attend the lessons, and you get a sufficient like participation, we can issue our own certification, which is already great. We can share on LinkedIn and share with potential employers. So it's already cool. We are testing that we actually built something cool. But Unity also provide a bunch of different certifications. They are different. They are more rigorous. You need to pass an exam. So this course is going to give you the basis to pass that certification. So in the case of the development course, it is the Unity Associate Programmer. And the design course is the Unity certificate, the Unity Certified Associate Artist. But you need to get like you need to study for the exam a little bit and actually sit the exam, like write the exam. But you're gonna have like almost everything that you need. It's just basically an extra mile if you wanna get certified.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Jerry. Now this one's for you, Myra, because it says this a question right for you, and this one's from Brad. Brad's asking Myra to create detailed 3D scans of rooms or even many connected rooms to be imported into Unity. Can you use something like an iPhone 12 Pro Max with LiDAR, or do you need a more powerful equipment?
Yes, and Akisha had an earlier webinar doing this. She had a cool LiDAR project where she did something with robots and then she imported it to Unity. It wasn't exactly the same, but yes, you can. And I think just with an iPhone or with the iPad 12, you can. And I mean, that's one of the, I was grateful to have her as my one-on-one instructor, but yes, you can. I don't have those. I don't have an iPhone 12 and the newer ones with the LiDAR, so I haven't done it myself. But yes, you can, and I'm sure your instructors could definitely help you more on that too.
Perfect. Thank you, Myra. That insight means a lot, and hopefully that helped out Brad. Question for yourself, I guess, Jerry. How should students define their success outcomes after completing the classes?
That's a good question. That's not easy to answer, because I think it depends on what you want. Like, your success is your success. So if you want to change careers, for example, or land a job, so that would be the measurement in there. But what I would say is like the baseline for success is actually being able to create your own project from scratch, like define the idea, understand what's needed to build that and put that together in Unity. So if you are able and comfortable with the tool and you can create something new, like push the boundaries from not only the projects that we build in class, but something that you are willing to build, I think that's definitely success in this case. But broader, I think it depends on your goals. So if you want to get a job, work hard on that, make a nice portfolio and apply for jobs and get it. If you want to change careers, if you want to publish an app on Steam or on the Oculus Lab. So it depends. Different students are going to have different goals, and the success is tied to that goal. But in general, like, if you actually understand Unity and can create a project, I would say you were successful there. Oh, as the certification can be a measurement as well. Like, if you're able to pass the certification, and that's not easy, I might say, like, you need to be really all about the thing and get prepared. If you can pass a certification, that's a really, really huge milestone. Like, you're gonna outstand, because not many people out there have those certifications. So for the Unity certifications, they're just attesting this guy know what they're doing in this level, in the associate, the professional, expert level. But that's a seal that this person went through a very hard process of getting certified. So that can be another way of measurement or measuring success.
Perfect. Awesome. And I do see you're responding potentially to Penelope's question. Do you want me to bring that up, or you want to write it out into I see you're typing. I'll pull it up. Don't worry. Penelope was asking, is there any coverage for integrating with audio DOS like Ableton, M4L, or Reaper in this course at all?
Well, not in the regular curriculum. So we definitely cover audio and spatial audio, but not integration with third-party softwares. But this is something that you can work through in the one-on-ones as well. So this is the good thing about the one-on-one. Like, you can take the basic knowledge or the fundamental knowledge that we give you in the class and expand that in the one-on-one. So yeah, it can be worked out through the one-on-ones, but right now it's not part of the regular curriculum, but we cover audio. Yeah, we do cover spatial audio.
Perfect. Awesome. Hopefully that helps out and answers your question there. Thank you for the question. Then I'll toss this one over to you, Myra, and this one's from Kirsten. Kirsten was asking, when do you think most people, quote most, in the US and Canada will have a phone with LiDAR? Do you have any idea about that?
I would assume just maybe the whenever new people upgrade with new phones, because I'm pretty sure the new phones will continue to have new LiDAR and continue to improve as well. So I guess it's just depending on how often do you update and how often does the general public update to have the latest phone. So that'd be my opinion.
That's a good point. Yeah, definitely. I could see newer mobile phones, potentially most of them having LiDAR. So as soon as someone does upgrade within the next couple of years, few years, let's give a safe assumption in 5 years that most people will have a LiDAR phone. That's my assumption there. But great question, Kirsten. Thank you. Jerry, this one's from Sonia. Sonia was asking earlier, why Vuforia before Foundation in the XR development with Unity course?
This is a good question. It's fun how in every single open house someone asks that question, but that's a good one. So they are different, like AR Foundation and Vuforia. They have different features, they have different limitations, But there is one good thing about Vuforia is that it's really easy to test. Like you don't need to publish to the device. You can use any webcam to test stuff. So what we want to give here is like that magic moment, that aha moment to the student that, okay, with just a bunch of clicks, like with a couple of steps, I can actually visualize something in AR using the image marker. So we bring that earlier in the course, just to break that stigma that it's hard to do AR, it's hard to visualize things. So people can, even if you don't have an iPhone or Android in there, you can experience something. So we start with AR with Vuforia because there's this specific thing in Vuforia that is a little bit easier. But later in the course, we introduce AR Foundation as well, because it's different. It's hard to say it's better or worse because it's just different. But there are things that it's possible to do in AR Foundation that is not possible to do in Vuforia. Vuforia is not completely free, while AR Foundation is free. So you need to decide based on your project, and that's why we cover both. But we start with Vuforia so people can visualize the things right away and be amazed by this and have something to show. Because AR Foundation is a little bit more bureaucratic to visualize on the device.
Perfect. Hopefully that helps out Sonia. And she did make a comment there, but lack of documentation and more complicated. No, I don't know if that was related to Vuforia, but no,
probably
I would
to
say
AR Foundation. No, actually, the documentation on Vuforia is a little bit better, I would say. And AR Foundation is tricky sometimes, but both are good. They're just different.
Right. Perfect. And just a quick thing in the chat here, Lorenzo, great seeing you join us. It's not a part of the course, but is it possible to implement AI inside Unity? Most definitely. We'll send you actually a workshop Jerry and I hosted around AI in Unity. So we'll share that with you, but brief answer, yes, we can definitely do that together. So this one is from Michael Klingerman, and Michael's asking, discuss transitioning from a VR headset to a mixed reality headset like HoloLens, and what sort of training we here might offer in the future for artists. So, I mean, we do have the accelerator course, the design course as well for artists. Anything else, Jerry, that you could add to that?
That's a good question. One thing we tried, we used to have a HoloLens course, but at that point, I think we were ahead of time and people didn't have HoloLenses, so that wasn't a success at that point. But we are definitely looking into that again, so expect news anytime soon. If you want to know a little bit about mixed reality with mixed reality headsets such as the HoloLens, especially like in the accelerator, we can definitely help you with that. We have some workshops, like Nikisa is HoloLens 2 Pro, so she's always hosting nice workshops there. Cash is learning it now. He just got a HoloLens and is learning a bunch of it to come up with good content as well. So you can learn from our workshops, and if you're in the courses, in the one-on-ones as well. We don't have yet a specific course on MRTK or HoloLens at this moment, but that might happen in the future. Now that it's growing, like more people are requesting that and more people are coming with HoloLenses. But that was not reality when we tried it the first time. But yeah, we didn't give up. It's going to happen.
Perfect. Awesome. Now, this one's for you, Myra. This one's from Sumer. And Sumer was asking, how are you applying your education at CircuitStream currently at your workplace? And where do you see yourself going later on with XR? We touched on it a bit, but feel free to answer those.
It's interesting because, you know, prior to this, my workplace didn't even understand what AR and VR really could even bring to the community. I brought these ideas and they just looked at me like I was kind of crazy. So, I mean, I think that that's actually just the first step for them to see my project. And I think that that's going to be a first step because I feel like a lot of industries don't really know what technology is out there and what is available to the public. So, I mean, as a LiDAR technician, I look at point clouds every day, and I'm supposed to make sure that every point is classified correctly, and we have to make sure that our 3D models are correctly made. So just in that aspect, going in there and being able to virtually see everything, that's pretty cool. And I'm just excited myself to learn how I can continue adding to these skills, things that I myself don't know how to solve yet, but yes, hopefully that helps a little.
Thanks, Myra. That really helps myself know as well. So this one's from JP, and I'll quickly answer this question here for you, JP. How many hours per week outside class time will you need to spend to be successful in learning the material? So I always like to suggest, if you do 4 hours of instruction with us per week, to try and match that with at least 4 hours of your own time reviewing classes, activities, working on your project. If not, a 2-to-1 match, 8 hours of your own time just to work, review recordings, work on your project, and really progress yourself. But maybe Myra, what was your experience in the course? How much time outside of class did you have to put, or did you think would be beneficial?
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's up to you. I mean, if you don't have that time, that's also like doable. But I think that if you want to be able to just be able to jump off into like a new project or like a new work right after this, I would just say put in as much time as possible. But if it's not a requirement, if you're not looking for a new job, then just put in the time required. I would put in about, I'd always usually do my stuff right after the project, because that way it's just easier. But yeah, I think about the time that they give you is pretty good. About 2-3 hours a week additional for me. I do have other things I usually do. But yeah, I think whatever you put into it now is what you're going to be able to come out to right away. So yeah.
Perfect. No, and thanks, Myra. Your insights really help other students get the idea as well. But yeah, I would say depends per person, right? Maybe match it with 4 hours of your own time. I've had, if anyone remembers, Shannon Bailey, she spent 12 hours a week reviewing everything, but really wanted to get the most out of it. So depends on the person. Totally depends per person there. Quick one for you, Jerry. This one's more so a hardware one, and I can speak to it as well. But Josh was asking, I'm upgrading my GPU next week to a 3060. That's beast, Josh, right on. But can someone like 9080 Ti be strong enough to do Unity work? Even though I'm upgrading, I just thought I'd ask. Typically, I think it's the 1050, 1060 that is the minimum requirements to be able to render experiences. But Jerry, what do you think about just working with Unity and not render?
Yeah, definitely. Even with lower end GPUs, you are able to learn and experience Unity. If you go through render, then it becomes a little bit different. Depending on the complexity of the project, you need first more memory, then better GPU. But as Steph mentioned, if you have like a 1060, it's already more than enough. Like even to run VR using Oculus Link, for example. So what I would recommend is checking the Oculus recommendations in their documentation. They just shared the VR requirements in there. You can run something on Steam VR. It's gonna tell you whether your computer is good enough or not. But this is tricky because that's not absolutely true. Sometimes they're gonna say your computer is under the tier, but it's not. So Andrew is typing there because I know it happened to him. Like, he has a really good computer, and the thing just says this computer is not good enough, but it is. So this technology is quite new, and the Oculus Link, for example, is quite new and not perfect. So it's not science, unfortunately, and I hate it because I am a scientist, and there are lots of trial and errors. We have Luciana has compiled the opinions of our students. Like, well, I have this hardware, it works. I have this and it doesn't work. So we have learned a lot on what works and what doesn't, what is good and what is not. But there's still some flexibility in there. So just reach out on Slack in our community and let's discuss with other people that are using different things. But if you have a 980, as you said, this is more than enough. That's gonna work just okay. Yeah, but again, like, you always gonna hit some limitations with even with the 3060. At some point, it's gonna be a limitation. But we should have what we have. Like, we need to make the improvements when we actually need them. But hardware is the hardest thing to figure out in this world, especially for VR. Like, the things are not black and white. It's complex. It's complex.
Right. Perfect. And thanks for that insight as well, Jerry. We've got one question here from Michael again. He was asking, briefly, best platform for designers and UXers to get into the AR industry. Unity, Blender, some other ones, and why? I know I mean, I'm biased. I would say Unity, but Jerry, what are your thoughts there?
Well, I think Unity, I would say Unity is better than Blender because of the focus. Like Blender is a 3D modeling software, so it's specialized in that thing. And you can do most of the things that you can do Unity in Blender as well. Not everything, but most of the things in there. But I think that Unity is gonna give you, first, Unity is a real-time thing. So you're gonna render in real time and you can iterate real quick. So you cannot do AR in Blender. Well, actually you can because the thing is open source and everything, but it's a nightmare. Like trying to do AR in Blender it's gonna be your worst nightmare. So I think that Unity it's not that hard to learn. It's really powerful. You can convey your ideas with no to little code. So I would say a game engine. So let me be fair here. If you don't want to learn Unity, or the industry you're working for uses Unreal most of the times, that's okay. Like, but I would say any real-time 3D engine, Unity, there are lots of advantages, especially in AR. So yeah, I am biased too, but I would say like in between Blender and Unity, I would get Unity. The job posting that I've seen yesterday on Facebook, they require Unity, so it's growing towards that. Like it's quite hard to use like 2D technology for prototyping VR. So you can use Figma. They are creating a couple of stuff, but if you don't bring that to the 3D space, it's quite hard to convey what we're doing. So yeah, so if you want to become like a modeler, create the worlds, I would say, okay, in this case, if you want to be a 3D designer or environmental designer or a 3D modeler, something like that, then Blender. But if you want to be a UX designer, in this case, probably Unity is going to help more.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. And hopefully that helped out, Michael. Great question as well. Confusing to know what company's what. Totally. And this one's for you, Myra. This one's from Dayon, part of Circus Stream here. So Dayon's asking for you, Myra. LiDAR is not a new technology. How did an AR technology change your normal work? And what's the most exciting AR solution you've seen in your line of work, if at all?
So, I mean, it hasn't changed my line of work yet because I haven't implemented anything yet. I haven't shown it to anybody yet. I haven't really been back to the office in a while. As you can see, I have my work desktop here at home. What's the most exciting AR solution you have seen in your line of work? I think just being able to visualize your models in pretty much being able to collaboratively see something together, being able to zoom in and pull out. Like I use Sketch. No, forgot this software. But I mean, yeah, I think that's one of the cool things, people being able to see it. And yeah, just visualization, I think, as a GIS person and being able to visualize it. I hope that helps. Yeah.
Awesome. No, I think it does, because I know you mentioned you're kind of, you weren't working with AR before at your workplace, and you're planning to bring it to your, your team and whatnot. So makes sense that you haven't come across it for the normal work yet, but maybe later on this year. Yeah.
The price range of that. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Myra. Let's see what we got here. So it looks like we have a few questions left. So this one's going to be from Andy. And Andy, if you're still online, great seeing you. Are there any CircuitStream hosted resources for initial portfolio building that you know of, Jerry?
Are there any CircuitStream hosted resources for initial portfolio building? That's a good question. I would need to check our blog, probably. If not, we can try to create it. But one thing that we released, and I have just shared in there, is we have a community website where you can start discussing with other professionals, and you can showcase your own project. So you do have like a place for you to host your portfolio. So if you have a nice project that you want to showcase, you can just upload there. Write a little bit about it, upload videos, and then you can share it with anyone. But regarding how to create like best practices, if I understand correctly here, I'm not 100% sure. I can check it.
Okay, cool. And yeah, Andy, I'll send you some stuff as well. Typically what we send over to help students prepare for whatnot. So definitely we'll be able to help you there, Andy. This one's from Josh. I think Josh actually left from what I saw in the chat, but I'll answer this one. Do we get a degree or certification that we can put on a resume that shows we've been through your courses to show an employer? Yes, there's the certificate of completion that we offer for all of the longer courses that we have here. So, Josh, I know you're probably not here still, but if you do review this later on, I'll reach out as well. We do have certifications you can show for. Let's see what else we got here. Darren Cook was saying, after watching this, I'm now more interested in the accelerator course. I'm intending to obtain the associate programming certification from Unity after completing this course. Now, this is a follow-up question, Jerry, that you can speak to. However, one of the criteria for obtaining this certification is 2 to 3 semesters of post-secondary Unity classwork. How far would you say this course will go toward the fulfillment of this requirement?
That's a really good question, and that's confusing. I agree. So actually, it says that you need to obtain 2-3 semesters post-secondary or equivalent, and our course is equivalent to that. So yeah, the course fulfills that that requirement specifically. But if you take only the accelerator, we are not going to be covering most of the things that are covered in the exam. So you need to study a lot more on your own to be able to pass it. Because there are lots of basic stuff that are covered in the exam that we're just skipping the accelerator because we're focusing on your project. So if you go through the 10 weeks dev course, then in this case, you're going to be a lot more well prepared. But depending on your background, you can join the accelerator, but that's not going to be completely preparing you for this certification. So if that's the case, well, I assume most of the people that join there, they already have a good knowledge of Unity, but you need to prepare for the exam. But yeah, you can take it if you finish any of our courses. They are equivalent.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's Jerry has actually helped create a few of the certifications for Unity, so he knows definitely the requirements and what to expect around this. Great question, Darren. And finally, it looks like we're at our last question here in the questions tab. This one is from Michael. Once again, Michael's asking, what is Figma doing in AR? I'm a heavy UXer. Figma is the cutting edge. Is there a plugin, Jerry?
Yeah, just shared that in the chat. So yeah, there is a toolkit in Figma for the mixed reality toolkit. So if we're building applications for the HoloLens, well, not necessarily the HoloLens, you can use MRTK for Oculus as well or any other things. So yeah, there is this Figma toolkit for MRTK, which is super cool. It's really, 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 really cool. So if you were already a heavy, how he named himself? The question is not on the screen anymore. He was a heavy.
Oh, the heavy UXer.
Yeah, so if you're a heavy UXer and you're already familiar with Figma, you can use this toolkit to build MRTK interfaces using Figma, and it's super cool. It was released. It was released like in less than 1 week. So if you have never heard about it, it's just because it's really new.
That makes sense. Yeah, hopefully that helped out, Michael. But great questions there. So it looks like that all the questions on the questions tab have been answered. Amazing questions, everyone. With this, final remarks from my end. If any of you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us, whether it's myself, Jerry, Myra, if she's open to it as well. I'm sure she'd love to network with some of you here. Definitely. To Kyle backstage, Dayon and Brendan, Luciana as well. We're all here to support you the best way we can. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Our spring special is live as well for the next 2 weeks. If anyone is interested in learning more about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. But with this, hey, Andrew, thank you. Adrian, great seeing you. Michael, anytime, our pleasure. Penelope, Yolanta, thank you for joining. Myra, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day today to join us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's so easy to support something you believe in, and honestly, it really is. I can't be here just pretending like I believed in the stuff I'm saying if it wasn't true. So yes.
Right. No, and thank you so much. Great and a pleasure, honor to have you here with us today. And yourself, Jerry, really appreciate your insights, your answers to a lot of these questions here, and your time and experience as well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining. If you guys have any other following questions and you want to hit me on Slack, feel free. And that's it. See you
Perfect.
guys soon.
Awesome. And yeah, thanks again. And I'm just going to call out the chat here. Andy, Mahreen, Darren, Brad, Devontae, Michael, Maggie, Andrew again, Sonia. Thank you all for sticking around. Thank you everyone who still is here. We hope to talk to you soon. And I wish you all a wonderful Thursday, if not Friday. Take care, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.